So everybody wants to get rich. They all want to get rich fast. But what if I told you that it's much better, smarter, and safer to get rich slow? I'm Jason Ellinger, and today I'm going to break down why getting rich slowly is much safer and smarter for you in the long run. It beats the get rich quick schemes every single time. If you're serious about building lasting success, then you literally cannot afford to miss this video. So, one of the biggest problems that I see with people who are getting wealthy too fast, and maybe they haven't come from wealth or they had the opportunity to manage wealth, they get rich very quickly and then it just all disappears. They're not prepared to manage the wealth. And so many of you know that I'm a Bible believing Christian, and I believe in what the Bible says, God's and grandma's way about managing money, just like Dave Ramsey says. That's what I believe. And it has it's formed my ability to build wealth. And it's also slowed me down at many times during my life as we went about the process of building wealth. And I guess in some ways, the entire process of wealth building for me has been slowed down because of some principles that we have instigated that we're just not willing to compromise on, like not using debt. So I want to mention a very important principle that goes like this. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but he who gathers little by little will increase. This is an old and ancient proverb. And actually, it comes from the book of Proverbs in the Bible, Proverbs 13:11. If you get wealth fast, most of the times you don't have the backbone to deal with and manage it, so you keep it. And this is the problem with, you see, when somebody wins the lottery. The vast majority of lottery winners, within 5 years after they've won the lottery, they're in a worse situation that they were in than they were before they won the lottery. In essence, they had more money before they won the lottery than 5 years after they won the lottery. And 10 years after that, they're almost all completely broke and unable to pay any of their debts because they haven't built debt wealth slowly. Without the right habits and the right mindsets, fast money, it can and will leave you just as fast as it came. As I've gone through the process of building wealth, there have been a lot of times in my personal life where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so freaking frustrating. Why is it taking so long for me? I know all the principles. I work to manage things really well. I understand the dynamics of money, but why is it take so long? Honestly, I think for Christians especially, I think maybe it even takes a little longer for a lot of us because God says, you know what? I want you to learn the wisdom to manage this so that you have the backbone to grow it. I want you to have the wisdom to manage it so you have the backbone and understanding to grow the wealth that I've given you. I feel sorry because some of the people who don't read the Bible, they're at a disadvantage because there's so many stories in the Bible about how to build wealth and good stewards and bad stewards and all types of different analogies and metaphors and how you should view and how principles on how to deal with wealth. Now, I know a lot of people don't read the Bible and they don't like the principles of it and they just completely disagree with it, and that's fine. But there are some very specific principles in the Bible that you can take, that if you take and you just simply apply to your life, it will automatically help you to grow wealth. So when you look at building wealth, the entire basket of wealth that you have been given, take this for example, it's just a basket, right? And you put a bunch of wealth inside of it. It's like you have this basket of wealth, and now you need to learn how to decide how to make decisions so that this basket produces more baskets, that it grows, that it actually produces more of itself. And so many times when we have wealth, it's kind of this view that it's like a finite thing. It's like, I have a piece of wealth and now I'm wealthy. In actuality, wealthy people, they get this basket of wealth and then they produce like 6 more because of how you make decisions and how you manage it. And when you get wealth fast, you don't grow that strength and that understanding and how to make those decisions consistently in a way that produces more of the same basket. You just have a pile of wealth and then you kind of draw from it and it kind of gets diminished over time. But when you get wealth slowly, you learn different patterns. And those patterns are wealth building patterns and decision making patterns. And as you can invest those into your life over time, they create more of those baskets of wealth. So, second thing, building wealth slowly causes financial wisdom. We talked about this a little bit, but Growing wealth over time teaches patience, discipline, and smarter decision making. Nobody ever talks about this in wealth building. Like on YouTube, I never see people talking about this. Like, get wealth by doing this, 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 and this. Okay. But who talks about getting wealth by being patient, by making the decision and then just waiting, and making the decision that, okay, now every month for the rest of my life, I'm going to allocate 15% of my income to my 401k, mutual fund that has a blend of growth and income, international, and what have you. I'm just going to take 15% and I'm going to put it there every single month. It's going to just auto draft out of my paycheck. It's going to go there and be invested in that fund. And then just wait. Like, who talks about that? Nobody freaking talks about it because it's boring, because it's not now, because it's not something that I create now. But the reality is, if somebody invests, oh man, this is like a painful thought to me. If you're in America today and you invest just a couple $100, $200 a month from age 20 to age 65, just $200, like a little more than pizza money. Okay, maybe even pizza money in this day and age because inflation is so high, right? You would be a multimillionaire. It's so freaking simple, and yet so many people this year will retire broke in America today when they could have done that for the past 30 years of their life and become multimillionaires. Why? It's because nobody talks about getting wealthy slow, and nobody says that once you've made a decision, just wait. Just wait. I remember talking to my uncle Paul, and he was 60 years old at the time, and I was just getting into investing and stuff. And he's like, and I received an email back from him. He's like, just decide and stick with it. That's it. I was like, can you provide any more information on the funds or anything like this? And blah 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 blah. And I was like all hyped up and energized and like, oh my gosh, I got to figure out all these things. And he's like, just start investing and keep doing it. I was like, that is literally your advice? This guy's a multimillionaire. Like, that is it? That's all you got to say? You can't tell me anything more about the details of all this? Like, that's literally it. And most boring, most unexpecting person to be a multimillionaire, but they are. I say they because he was a twin. His brother, Scott, passed away not long ago. And anyways, but both of them, they were millionaires, and they just start and keep doing it. So I remember another story about my uncle Scott, the twin who passed away. He said he wanted to buy a new truck, and obviously wealthy person already, but he was going to buy a new truck, and he was like, man, I really hope there's enough money. And it was so funny to me. I was like, this guy has a lot of money. He was like, man, I really hope there's enough money in that account, because I was putting in money in that account and I'm just not sure that there's enough money in there. It's like, so he went and looked at the truck, and then he was like, then I called my bank. He's like, hey, how much money is in my account? And I was like, oh, it's enough to buy this truck. He was like, yeah. You're like, this is a 60-year-old guy. And he was like, just got to like this little celebration, it's a mini childish celebration, because like, oh, yay, because I have the money in my account. I was like, there's something different about people who truly grow wealth than all the gurus online. It's like, you got to do this and that and this, blah, blah. Just make the decision and wait. Sometimes that's the whole deal. Let me really quickly do online. If your current age is 20 years old and you want to retire at 65, and you have zero in your investments, and you're going to contribute $200 every month, and you're going to get a 10% return, how much you're going to have when you're 65. So here's the statistics, guys. If you are currently 20 years old, right now, if you're 20 years old or close, and you invest $200 per month, every single month, you do this consistently, and you never increase the amount of money that you invest. Never. You only ever invest $200 a month, but you do it until you're 65. You will have $2.1 million. The only thing you did was make a boring decision of invest just in the S&P 500. You just took an S&P 500 index fund, and you decided, I'm going to invest $200 every month in this fund till I'm 65. People don't talk about that. People don't talk about getting wealth slowly, like getting wealthy slowly. I think that's one of the current tragedies of humanity. We have most opportunity that ever existed in the history of mankind at your very fingertips. You have the ability to be able to build a massive pile of wealth in America today by investing a tiny amount of money, literally tiny, $200 a month. Okay, maybe it's more for some people out there. Let's even try 100. Let me put 100 in the calculator. You have zero in your account today, and you start investing $100 per month at 20 years old. You know how much you will have? $1,050,000. You will be a millionaire by the time you're 65. If you take $100. Well, $1 million when I'm 65 ain't going to be $1 million. Yeah, but it's also going to grow probably more. It's probably going to grow more than that. I put 10%. It's probably going to grow somewhere in the realm of, like, if you stretch that out over a long period of time, at least 12%. So let's increase it to 12. I just put 10%. What's 12%? And again, you never increase the amount of money that you invested. You just invested $100. Oh, now it's 2.145. So if it's close to the average, the S&P 500 average for the past, 40 years, you're going to have $2.1 million in that account, and you invested $100. All right. So going back to the $200 dollar investment, how much is that if we just invested $200 from age 20? Oh my gosh, $4,290,000. And so I just want to drive the point home that getting rich slow, you can do it. You can absolutely get rich slow. And if you do get rich slow, you have a high likelihood of being able to keep it. Patience and discipline. And not even that much discipline. $200 per month for your entire life. Like this shocked me, guys. This literally shocked me when I heard this statistic. From the top 5 people who are most likely to become millionaires, doctor is not even in the top 5. And attorney, lawyer, is the last on the list. The last of the top 5. From the biggest study that's ever been done in North America today, the top 5, doctor is not even there. You're like, oh my gosh, doctors get paid so much. They're all millionaires. No, they're not. In fact, they're less likely to become a millionaire than a school teacher. Are you freaking serious? Yes. Engineers first. I think it was accountant, school teacher, businessman, some, executive of a company, and then attorney, lawyer. The lawyer is the last on the list. Doctor didn't even make the top 5. Then what is it? Then what is it that causes people to become wealthy? Getting wealthy slow. Living on less than you make. Patience and discipline. Investing $200 freaking dollars a month will get you $4.2 million from if you start investing at age 20. Guys, just do it. Just freaking start. Just take the S&P 500 and start investing $200 per month in it. That's it. And you'll be multi-millionaire by the time you're 65. All right. Slow success. Yeah. So many people are frustrated with slow wealth building. And I am too, guys. I'm very, very frustrated with slow wealth building at times. It's a painful process. I've had the syndrome where it's like, I'm freaking so much smarter than those people. And those people are further along than I am. Like, I'm sharper. I make decisions faster. How come I'm so far behind those people? And you can't do that. You get into this comparison mentality. They've got a different set of situations in their life. They've got different challenges they deal with. And you might not know what is actually under their numbers. Like, so many TikTokers are online today and like, do this and do that, and make this spread and create this margin and create this passive income. Like, have you really ever done that? Because it makes a really great TikTok video and you get millions and millions of views. The information, the access to this crazy information out there that doesn't work is ridiculously available. And so real wealth is about learning to be creative when things turn down and being consistent with a little bit over time. That's why the Bible says, like in that verse that I just talked about, it says, he who gathers little by little, that person will prosper. That's the one who's going to prosper. Little by little, $200 a month for the whole of your working lifetime, from age 20 to age 65. That's actually 2 years early now, right? Because the 67, I think, is the new retirement age, right? That's 2 years early. So from 20 to 67, $200 a month, 12% average, which is basically around the S&P 500. And you've got $4.2 million. If you take off $400,000 per year, if you take $400,000 income per year, when you turn 65, you start drawing $400,000 per year. That thing will live perpetually, and it will probably slightly grow. Isn't that a ridiculous thought? Getting rich slowly is what matters. That is the way to prosper. You learn how to navigate challenges, downturns, and opportunities creatively because you're not over-invested. So many people, they put a big chunk of money. I know so many people who got into Bitcoin and they invested this massive amount of money, and then they thought they were going to make these huge windfalls of cash because they saw everybody else doing it, and then everything crumbled and fell apart. And then it kind of came back and everybody made a bunch more money, and then everything kind of crumbled and fell apart. And it's kind of a really cool thing. I'm not investing anything in it right now, but maybe sometime in the future I could see myself investing in something like that if it gets a really good track record of winning over time, like a really good, like 30 years. You're like, my gosh, Jason, why would you wait that long? Well, because I have a lot of other investments that have much, much longer histories than that have a great track record of winning. So why would I put something in much greater risk category? Well, because you can make a lot of money faster. That's not my principle. My principle is to grow wealth over time. And if I have stuff that has a great track record, let me just invest in that and invest in myself and invest in my business and create the most possible wealth that I can. Because truly, the biggest place that I've got most of my wealth is through the things that I've learned about how to make decisions and plans that cause me to prosper. And that's investment in me. That's investment in my own thinking and my own processes and my own ability to communicate to a team, to create content, to create systems that cause me to be able to prosper. So growth is a roller coaster. I don't know if you've seen this past 6 months basically of the market, but if you've been invested, and I have been invested, I think I'm about 20 years now by this point, and I've seen a lot of ups and downs, including the 2008 crash. And so I've seen this thing go way up and way down and way up and way down. And so if you're too heavily invested and you have too much invested, that means you don't have enough to run your life with. And then when things go bad, and it always happens like this, things go bad in your life and you have a few downturns, you get in a car wreck, somebody didn't have insurance, and now you have to figure out how to pay for a new car. And then the market turns down all at the same time. And it's like all these things bad happen at the same time. What they say, tragedies come in three or something like that. And then all of a sudden you have to take the money out at a low to buy the thing you need. And that's a terrible strategy. You need to only invest, that's why I said like $200 a month. Only invest $200 a month, not 2,000, but 200. If you make a lower income, $200 a month, so that you still have money to buy your car if a tragedy happens. And by the way, you need to have emergency funds set aside, and that's kind of boring too, right? Because you have a big pile of money sitting over here doing absolutely nothing, and that's kind of boring. But it's wise, and that's how you build true wealth. That's how you build wealth that lasts, and that gives you the ability to weather the storms. Because most of wealth building throughout your lifetime is about you being able to weather the storms of the up and downs of the market and life. Because the market goes up and down. It has its own storms. It's a crazy roller coaster. It's a roller coaster ride. It's not one steady upward trajectory. It was going like this, and it went like that for the past 3 months, 4 months. And now it's like, it started to kind of etch its way back up again. And it's I don't know what it's going to do in the future, but anyways, it's been rocky, and it gets rocky. There are always rocky periods throughout the market. I heard one investment guru or market guru, he was talking about how, people talk about recession. And it's like, recessions always happen at some point in pretty much any 10-year given period. Like, take any 10 years of the market, and at some point, there's probably some signs of recession, or there's an actual recession. And it's like, people are freaking out over this, but it's just a reality. It always happens. It's part of the process. You've got to know that, and you've got to be able to stay invested when it goes down, even though it's down. I mean, I've seen massive swings in my accounts, and it's like, whatever, I don't care, because it goes down and we're still invested. We didn't sell anything. And as it goes up, we're going to be able to participate in that great growth. I invest every single month, month after month after month after month after month. I just don't stop. And when the market's down, we buy. When the market's up, we buy. We just consistently buy in this set of funds. And so that's something that too many people don't talk enough about. And too many wealth builders and TikTokers and gurus online, they don't talk enough about that, because a lot of it's just making the decision to invest that 15% and sticking with it and having the patience to wait. Have the patience to wait as many years as it takes for you to become multimillionaire. And that gives you the ability to build wealth slow. So you have this investment going, life is happening over here, and you're able to continue investing because you have your emergency fund and you have your home budget, and you're working on a plan, and you have your 15% going over there. It's not too much, but it's not too little, so that you're actually growing wealth at a very, very nice rate. And the market's going up and down. Sometimes it looks like you're making a lot of money, sometimes just losing money. And then, but over time, over this 40-year period of investing, you're going to make a lot of money. And so if you're able to stick with it because you've set your life up to where you can have the patience and the durability to weather the storms and not take any money out of your investments as you grow it, you'll be able to have millions of dollars. And too many people don't talk about that. Like, well, I want to live right now. Well, live right now. Well, literally live right now. Save money, go on your vacation. All you need to invest is $200. I mean, if you make a bigger income, like if you're a doctor, you should be investing more than that. If you're making $250,000 plus per year, you should be able to invest a lot more money than that. And remember, Mr. Doctor, as intelligent as you are, you still don't make the top 5 of people who are most likely to become a millionaire. Study in North America done ever. You still don't make the top 5. As intelligent and as awesome as you are, and I admire healers, and I appreciated all the people that I worked with in the United States Air Force. I was in the medical squadron, and I was a medic. But still, getting wealthy slow is how you build true wealth. And the most likely people to get wealthy are not the ones that you think they are. They're teachers, engineer. Okay, yeah, engineers, they get paid a lot of money, right? But it's not about being an engineer. It's about being able to submit to a process that creates a result. The engineers are uniquely talented. Their brains are hardwired to think in systems and patterns that are based on principles that create a result. And so they take the principle. Okay, if I invest this percentage over time in this mechanism, it will prosper and cause this. And they're like, okay, I can think that. I got it. Understand that. Now I just have to wait. So they do the thing and invest in the thing, and now they just wait till the thing becomes multi-million-dollar account, and boom, they've got it. Right? Teachers, they create lesson plans. They take children and young people through a process that helps them to mold and to grow. And they understand that very same process is the one that you have to do to be able to grow wealth. And that means you teach one tiny little principle that builds on another principle that builds on another principle that helps them to understand the entire concept. Well, the same goes with the money. I mean, it's the same exact process. One little piece of money, then another little piece of money, then another little piece of money, then another little piece of money, 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 little piece of money. And over time, you grow a massive amount of wealth. And that's the process. So the journey to wealth shapes your identity. The process of wealth building transforms you into someone who's capable of maintaining it and growing it. And just like I talked about the basket earlier, you literally become a different person as you submit to the process. You decided on that percentage, you're putting the percentage in that fund, and you are growing over time. As your wealth grows, you grow the ability to be patient, to have the discipline that it takes to win over time. You grow the ability to be able to watch when the market's up and kind of mourn it when it's down, but not be discouraged, because you know that over time, the data says that it's probably going to prosper. And so you just wait. You go through multiple life challenges and tragedies, because in any 10-year given period of time in our personal lives, something bad's probably going to happen. You're going to have a relationship breakthrough, or you're going to have a sickness, or I'm not trying to say it's everything's bad and it's going to be bad in your life, but part of life is that we all suffer. We all suffer through things that we didn't expect and that we don't want to happen. And if you're not the type of person who can go through that and continue working on a process, and you're not strong and whole enough to be able to do that, well, you're not going to be able to build the long-term wealth that you want to build. You have to be able to be whole and peaceful as a person. And so you grow as your wealth grows, and that gives you a better perspective and ability to be able to manage that growth. You're not just getting rich, you are becoming literally a richer person as you grow wealth and as you learn the process, if you submit to the process of growing wealth over time. You are actually becoming more capable of adding more value to people's lives in more areas of their lives. That's something that wealthy people do. That's a characteristic of people who are able to grow wealth, just like the teacher. Like he or she is the epitome of this. They're investing these things into these children so that over time they become somebody great. Maybe they become the president of the United States, or they become a doctor, or they become a lawyer, or they become a great business person, or an awesome mom or dad. For God's sakes, we know we need better moms and dads in the world today. And the teacher or the parent, I mean, just the mom and dad or parent, they know that they invest in their child, and they become a person more capable of adding more value and wealth to the people, to the relationships that they have and the people that are around them. And as they can do that, well, they can become more wealthy as a person in just wealth standard terms. So you're able to add more value in many more situations. And as you're able to do that because you have a greater perspective and a greater discipline on being able to build wealth, that you actually become that different person. So rich people, they solve unsolvable problems consistently, patiently, and they just freaking show up. So sometimes in my life, I have been amazed. The challenges that we face, the problems that we step into as you grow your wealth and as you get better at whatever this the thing that you do is, you will encounter a new challenge. I've heard some business leaders talk about, you're going on your growth trajectory and then you hit a wall. And so many times once you hit the wall, you want to look to the side, this side or that side, or hopefully or try to go over the wall or something, or get around it somewhere. But the wall is impenetrable. It's unscalable. And in order to get to the next level of success, you've got to go through the wall. You've got to get actually through the wall. Wealthy people, they learn to solve unsolvable problems. There are problems that you cannot solve, but you're going to have to solve them. And I know it sounds like an oxymoron, but that is the mentality that you're going to have to develop as you grow a legacy building type of wealth, because so many businesses get to certain levels and then they hit that wall and then they just stop. They stop growing and they stop looking for solutions. And they're like, okay, well, this is the top of my marketplace and I can't get any further. But the real success for them is on the other side of that. And it just goes up exponentially. And so one great business leader, he's like, so many business owners, they quit when they're at 70% of their growth curve for their business. But the real growth for their business, the exponential explosion, is at the 30% on the other side of that wall. And so you have to start learning how to solve unsolvable problems. And at each stage, unsolvable problems look a little bit different. Sometimes at the beginning, it's like, how do I pay my car off? It's impossible. Or how do I pay all of my consumer debt off? It's impossible. Well, it's not impossible. You're going to have to create the process and submit to a process, right? So if we have a lot of debt, then it means we need a lot of money to pay off the debt. Oh, that's really genius. Obviously, we need a lot of money. Okay, but how much money do we need and when? And how is there a process for us to start working through this? Yeah, there's actually a number of actual steps that you can do to start working on this. What? First of all, write down a budget, right? And then when you write down your budget, now you have to create a situation where you live on less than you make, cut out expenses, and etc. Now what? Well, after that, we have to use the debt snowball. List the debts smallest to largest and start to pay minimum payments on everything except the smallest one and attack that one. Well, what if I don't have enough money to pay it off very quickly? Well, that means you need to add some money. How do you add some money? By doing more work, doing more stuff that's valuable to more people. And see, this is a process of just solving it. At first, it looks like it's an unsolvable problem because you have a mountain of debt and not enough money, not enough income. But when you submit to the process and you start breaking it down, you're like, wait a minute, this is actually doable. I can work through this process. I can solve this unsolvable problem. It's not unsolvable anymore because now I believe that I can solve it because now I have some tools in my tool belt, some knowledge that helps me be able to do that in the form of skills, right? I learned some skills to be able to help me solve harder problems, big, hairy, ugly problems that I didn't know I could solve. And now, since I can do that, well, I can work through this problem. And now that sets the stage for me to solve the next problem. So remember, so now you've learned all those principles and you're growing and you start to build this wealth, and then you hit that wall that I was talking about. Remember that 70% you're working on your business or your life 70% of the way there, but the true exponential growth is on this side of the that bell curve is on the other side of that wall. And now you hit that unsolvable problem, that unsolvable set of things that you have to solve. You just have to freaking take out the jackhammer, the sledgehammer, and beat on the wall until you get through it. Just beat and beat and beat on the wall. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get through. It's going to take as long as it takes. As much money as you have, as many skills as you have, as much intelligence as you have, as much patience you have. It's going to take more than all of those things. And you're going to get through it. And then you're going to see an exponential growth on the other side. But you have to learn how to solve unsolvable problems that you think they're unsolvable. In fact, there's no problem that is unsolvable. Okay, maybe in the mathematics world, there's some kind of unsolvable formula. I don't know. But in the realm of life and investing in growth and business and becoming wealthy, there is no unsolvable problem. It's simply being willing to submit to the principles that take you to the end goal, and identifying those principles and then applying them, and making sure that you are not getting distracted along the way. Because anytime you get distracted, you either slow your process down or you condemn yourself to failure, because you started on a trajectory and then you veered off because you felt, maybe you felt some success and you felt some hubris. You felt you got too prideful because you know too much now, and now you don't have to follow the principles. You're just going to get there anyways. And no, you actually have to stick to the process, even though it's hard and long, and it's going to take you forever to get there. Just like investing $200 per month right now from age 20 to age 65 will get you $4.3 million. Like, that's a long process. It's pretty easy to solve. Just invest the money, make sure that you can make at least $200 extra per month in your budget so that you can invest the money in the fund for the next, 45 years, and you'll be a multimillionaire. Congratulations. Yet, so many people this year will still retire broke. I listen to people calling in on the Dave Ramsey show, and they talk about, like, I'm 75 years old and my house is not paid off, my cars are paid off, and I have no money. And that's the saddest call to me, because it's like, you had your entire lifetime where you could have invested that, and you didn't. And obviously we all have different circumstances. I'm not judging anybody. I know everybody has their situations going on in life. Some people have some a little bit easier, some people have harder. We're all in this together. That's what I know. Anyways, and they call in and like, I have no money. And it's like, man, you had 40 years of your life to work on this problem, and you chose only now to take a look at it, and now it's too late. So don't wait till it's too late. Start solving now. Start learning how to solve that problem now, and start taking the steps that are necessary to do that. Avoid the lottery mindset. This is the fifth thing I want to share with you guys today, and it's the last thing. Avoid the lottery mindset. When you expect overnight success, you gamble instead of strategizing. I did not know this. I had no idea that this existed in the world. And, I just focus on growing our wealth, building our business, working with, training my kids, and working with our family. And I basically have little time for anything else but those things. And I was talking to my son recently about a video game. And it's like, so in this video game, you can buy boxes. And he's like, Papa, this is basically a new way of gambling. I was like, what do you mean? It's like, so people go and buy these boxes in this game, and then they buy the keys to these boxes, and then you can sell whatever is in the box for like $1 million. And I was like, what? How much do the boxes cost? It was like $10. It's like, what? And they're marketing this to kids? Yeah, but you can't buy the boxes until you're 18. And I was like, oh my freaking gosh. They're using the addictive nature of gambling, the spirit of gambling, the get rich quick lure to get kids in, or get young people. And the game is positioned towards young people, like under 18. Obviously, they're all under age 18 people who are playing this game, but you have to be 18 to purchase it. Why? Because it would be illegal to prey on children and get them addicted to this activity of purchasing something for a tiny bit of money and getting insurmountable return, like ridiculously massive return. I was like, man, even in the video game industry, they're trying to infiltrate minds so that and utilize that that spirit of, I want to get rich faster. And I thought, gosh, that's so dangerous. He just told me, I was like, well, maybe we should buy like 20 boxes and see what we get. And then I was like, wait a minute. I thought about it a little more. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's literally gambling. Like, you go to the gas station, you buy the lotto ticket, Texas Lotto or whatever ticket, and you go scratch it, and hopefully you're the pot winner, right? Or maybe you win $100 or whatever, and it keeps you coming back. And he's like, and then he told me this, my son, he said, they report that the company reports that they make $2 million per day selling those boxes. And I was like, oh my gosh. So you see the system. They sell these boxes, these mystery boxes, that sometimes they have something worth 40 cents in it, and sometimes they have something worth, they say, 1.5 million, right? And I was like, Benjamin, do you realize that they could sell, or they could give away $1.5 million in a single day and still make $500,000 in profit on that, on those boxes? It's like, yeah, like that's literally what they can do every day. And they do that every single day. And keep people engaged with the process of thinking and hoping and wishing and gambling that they will get rich. And I was like, that's borderline sinister to me. I mean, that's pretty out there. Like, I'm all for people making money, but I'm not for preying on people's desire to get rich quick in order to make money. That's a line that's too far. I think that's getting into the realm of sinister business, and that's something that I'm not willing to be involved in. But that is something you have to keep your mind and your heart out of. Stepping into that realm of, I will gamble and become wealthy. Because remember that statistics, within 5 years, the people who gamble, the vast majority of them are in a far worse financial position than they were before they got the money from that huge windfall of money from that lotto card or from that gambling interaction. And so many people we know, they're addicted to gambling. Families are crushed and fall apart because of the addictive nature of the gambling program or game. And so they've gamified losing money. And to me, I just can't even comprehend that. So we're not going to buy any of those boxes because that kind of demonstrates to my children that get something for doing nothing. And that's a very poisonous mentality. So financial freedom comes through intentional, thoughtful, consistent, good planning and activity over time. Like, that is the bottom line truth. Financial freedom, it comes from learning intentional thought, consistent, good planning, and the actions in alignment with those things over time. That's where your true financial freedom, legacy type wealth is going to come from. That's it. That's not a get rich quick scheme. That's just a lot of freaking hard work. Much of this wisdom sounds like it came from the Bible or grandma. It's because it came from the Bible or your grandmother or my grandmother. Like, that's how my grandparents lived. I remember my grandfather, actually, he never invested in anything in his entire life except cattle. And when he passed away, he never made more than $50,000 a year at any single year of his lifetime. He passed away and he had more than, I'll just say it this way, he had more than $300,000 in his personal bank account, and aside from his property, because he grew little by little over a long period of time. And so that's what this video is about today. I hope that, in the marketplace of all this noise about how to get rich fast, I want to just kind of give some based wisdom out there, and like, this is truly what it takes. This is what works. This is what I've done. This is what many of millionaires before me have done and are currently doing to grow wealth. And if you can do this, if you stick to it, I guarantee you will become wealthy over time. So if you want lasting prosperity, you need to work the process, not just focus on the results. When you focus on the results, you can't see the process, and you don't work through the process, you don't get the results. Getting rich slowly is not a weakness. Getting rich slowly is the ultimate financial power move. It is the move that actually causes true prosperity in your life, both personally, because you've grown along with your wealth, and financially. So hit that subscribe button, like the video, share it with a friend. Would really appreciate that. And if you truly want to build legacy type wealth, not just create a payday, that's what this channel is about. My name is Jason Ellinger. I'm the CEO of Taika Translations and the Vision People, and we deliver content just like this each and every week to help people truly prosper.